Hello, hello, hello. My beautiful listeners, we are back with another episode of the XO podcast, live from the Artist Hotel at Lost Lands Music Festival. This week, you get to hear my podcast with Must I. What a freaking legend he is to the electronic dance music scene. I am so grateful I had the opportunity to sit down and shoot the shit with him. We woke up like warriors at 8:30 a.m. after day 2 of the festival, the day that he played his huge set, and we knocked out this podcast before he had to hop on his plane to fly home. So, such a good fucking conversation. We talk about his album, the remix album, shining light on newcomers, his opinion on the scene, and everything in between. This episode had some funny ass bloopers. Don't forget to hop over to my Patreon at www.patreon.com/thisisLizzyJane to check those out alongside ad-free versions of the podcast and extra exclusive content. Without further ado, this is Lizzy Jane with our very special guest, Must I, and you're tuning in to the XO podcast. Lee.
Dubstep.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, anytime.
I greatly appreciate it. You know, we're day 2 in it, 9 a.m. after the festival.
Yeah.
We're here for the podcast.
Got dust in my eyes. I got dubstep tinnitus going on. It's a whole thing.
Your set yesterday, you said you didn't have a voice this morning. Pretty much, it's gone.
Yeah, I haven't yelled in 2 years.
Yeah.
So I went on stage and because the monitors aren't particularly loud, I was just like, I feel really distant from the crowd. I need to make sure I'm yelling. And then I heard videos and the mic was so loud, and I was like, I guess I lost my voice for no reason. But it does mean that I don't have to talk to anybody I don't want to. I'm reserving this for you.
I appreciate that.
That's
it means a lot. It means a lot. How did it feel to be back to big festival? Sweaty.
Yeah, festivals are great. It was cool to play the new stuff out.
Yes.
But I've been doing a couple of smaller shows with the Riot 10 tour, and I feel like I'm actually starting to prefer smaller shows.
Okay.
And that's a huge difference to me. Anyone that knows me knows that I write my music specifically for big festival drama moments. Mm-hmm. And now I'm like, shit.
Maybe. Is that because of the energy and the relationship between you and the crowd?
Why I like it now?
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. I think it's because during the pandemic and while I was at home, I got really I became a fan of dance music again. Mm-hmm. After getting disillusioned for so many years, I love to complain. I went down this rabbit hole of everything I used to love, why I loved it, and then I wrote an album about it. And now when I'm out playing, I'm like, okay, cool, let's play all the super intense club stuff. And then when I get to the big festival parts, I'm bored.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is happening? And so yesterday, I was like, man, I wrote all these tunes for this kind of setting, and I really just care about this other section of my set now.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Wow, that's a total
it's a complete
mind
flip.
fuck. Yeah, a total flip. That's really it's cool to see that, I guess, development in your mind to go from one set to another.
Yeah, I didn't expect it at all.
It's listening to Crisis Vision, we were talking yesterday. You wrote that in 3 weeks.
Yeah,
which is fucking
3 weeks.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So
most of it, not all of it, but most of it.
Okay.
The big push where I was from ideas to album was 3 weeks. Yeah,
which is absolutely insane. I was talking to an artist yesterday, and we were just talking about when you get in that flow, you just have to go with it.
Yes.
And are you a big advocate just to pump it out, or are you okay?
Yeah.
Because I feel I talked to 2 different people where it's they get to that 80% mark, and the last 20% is a year's fucking worth of work.
I'm never like that.
No.
So I'm so I work really closely with my A&R on that album, with Schism. Mm-hmm. And essentially what happened was we had these ideas. I had a couple of ideas floating around that were singles that came out. Okay. I had a tune called Nerve Damage, a tune called Don't Even Bother, and a tune called Hellburst. And then Sorrow Tech was closer to the album being done. But I had those out, and I was using them to buy time because I didn't know what COVID was going to do. So I was like, okay, I'll write a song. And so I would write a song in a week and I'd put it out. And I'd be like, okay, I got to write another song because it just keeps going. So then I'd write another one and put it out. And then after the third one, I was like, okay, this isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
I need to put these together and make an album. And I thought about just scrapping all the singles and then just doing like a separate album. And then after like a long talk, we decided to keep those songs that were out on the album and then just write the rest of the album. So that was in my favor. So then basically it was just like a matter of a few weeks later, after like writing out a plan of what we were going to do, I just did it. And then like we just got it done really fast. It was the first time I've ever had a project done early.
That's so awesome though. Do you think it had somewhat to do with like what you were saying before, where you kind of fell in love with dance music over the time of quarantine? And
I felt like it was important work.
Yeah.
And so I was like really stoked to do it. I had a lot of fun. It's like the first time I've ever...
You can hear it. It translates through the album, like listening to like... Because like I've always listened to your like discography for a long fucking time. To like see kind of that like development, and like this is like one very cohesive piece.
Right.
Which sometimes you don't always get that in
No, and you don't just have the luxury.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I did another album on Ausla in like 2014. And that project, that process was also me like in a space, but I was also touring. And like the disconnect between like, you can tell like when I would see something and get like stoked on it and come back and work on it. And then I would see something else out there, come back in and like get stoked on it. But Crisis Vision was literally like me, my Spotify playlist, and my brain.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, yeah, it's all one thing. And like songs would be made like one day after another. Like, and it was like all one cohesive. It was the same zone.
Absolutely.
I guess is like the word.
And like when you were touring, would you come back home and work on music, or would you work on music on the road?
When I first started, I was working on music on the road left and right. But by 2014, I was pretty much like I liked to write at home. Like my favorite place to write music is like on my couch, like on MacBook speakers. But for this album, I switched to a PC. I don't know why, but I did.
Yeah.
Maybe because I'm mad at Apple. I don't know.
I just switched to a PC too.
I think I was just bored.
Yeah.
I think I just wanted to like relearn how to make music.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then I switched to PC, and so therefore I had to write like in a room with headphones on by myself, and I couldn't like fuck around. But yeah, like I don't write on the road anymore at all. Now I like straight up can't.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It takes so much pressure off you.
It takes so much pressure off you, and like what we were kind of saying yesterday when we were briefly talking is that it felt like touring had gotten to a point where it was like this very stagnant, repetitive, like average baseline out thing.
Yes.
And now, because of COVID, from my opinion of like an outsider looking in, it looks like it's somewhat been reset.
I hope so.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think,
hope so.
I mean, I hope you're right. I want nothing more in my career now. Like, this is a perspective shift through COVID as well, but I want nothing more now than the kids who like have something to say to be able to say it en masse and get paid.
Oh, absolutely.
Like get paid like a fair wage for it. So it's like, well, I guess, you're right, because I'm seeing kids like Neonics and Ominous and like Uber and like all the crew that like I kind of hang out with, but like they're getting put on. Like Neonics played Wampy Woods last night, like at night.
Yeah.
And it went off. And I was like, yeah, that's
huge growth.
That's what I want. Like, I don't want to see me, and I don't want to see Zomboy.
I mean, I say that.
People,
that's like one of my best friends. Like
but,
over and over again. Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Like even the people I love, but like we've had our time. Let us start doing like the old boy shit, and then like bring in all the new people. Like we've got so many cool fucking
so people. Innovative and like so forward thinking, and it's cool because I feel like from the artist side, it's like it's important to bring in that new generation. It's important to like look at the people who are trying to continuously push the borders because, like on the back end of the industry, like it's easy to just follow the same song structure, make the same sounding shit. And if you're with the right group of people, you're going to be taken care of.
Yeah, you're going to get like floated through.
But like the group that you just said, Uber, Ominous, APOs, they're pushing those boundaries.
Yes.
And to see from like the fan base, them wanting that is so important.
I think it's important to say out loud too that they're actually defining what our boundaries are as like established artists. Is that they do something super cool, and if the established artist is someone who like gives a shit, which like there's like 10 of us, like we're going to notice and start to like emulate it because we still think it's cool.
Because you collabed with a bunch of them as well, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, even aside from that, like I've been inspired by those like up and comer, like not rhythm kids, but like that next wave of just like cool dubstep. It's inspired the hell out of me. And like just aside from like using them as clout, like they make cool music and I want to hear it. Like Akios is like one of the best producers I've ever heard. Yeah. And like we finally got to meet last night. That was cool.
Oh wow. So
yeah,
you
we had
guys
never
had
met in person. Yeah, we never met in person. It was awesome. And then like fucking Uber I've always loved, and like just those kids, it's like I want them to be put on instead of like co-opted, and like I want them to be paid fairly and like get that shit and like go have fun. And I'm happy to sit back for the rest of my career and watch it. Like that's where I'm at now. I don't know. I feel like touring being reset, it was really unsustainable. It was basically just like promoters not taking any risks and only selling shows they know will bring tickets, which I find fucking stupid. Yeah. And I will say this to any agent, any promoter.
That's how you get stuck in a box, though.
Well, yeah, that's how no one ever takes a risk. Yeah. Ever again. Like, people were taking risks on us when we were first starting out. You know what I mean?
You have to.
Yeah. How the fuck else are you going to pull music?
And now the problematic part is a lot of these, like, promoters that would necessarily, talent buyers that would take chances on people like myself, on people like Akios, on people like Omnis. They either don't have their venues open yet because they're still fucked because of COVID. Right. Or they're currently being bought out by bigger companies.
I was going to say that, like, the one I run into most often is that they're getting bought out
and
by
absorbed.
Like Live Nation and shit. Suck my dick.
Yeah.
I can say that. I don't care.
But what I love, like, with you two is that you are in this position where, like, you are, like, a vetted artist and, like, you sit up there where you can choose to bring in these new people. And I think it's hugely important for, like, people like yourself to shine light on those people. Sure. Because that's how you take your demographic and your fan base and you push them onto these kids.
Sure. I like...
The power that you have, like, on social media and, like, you know, in a presence, like, in a festival like this is so important. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. I have to big up Subtronics on that. That's when I think of people who, like, put people on, like, I don't know anyone that is more invested in, like, the culture than him. I just really don't. Like, him and Level Up, like, really give a shit. And, like, even if you're not into, like, the festival-based kind of stuff, like, dude, I can promise you that Jesse gives a shit about dubstep. So, like, I've actually learned a lot from those two and, like, other people I talked to. And I realized how far out of the loop I had become based on just being disillusioned from the whole touring circuit. Yeah. Where I was just like, everything sounds the same and blah, 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 blah. And I was, like, really wrong.
Well, what I really liked,
really wild.
what he did with Cyclop Records was that, like, he created this, and I feel the same about Will Style with Halcyon. And what he did is, like, he created this, like, niche of where people weren't able to get their tracks signed if they weren't known. And he's like, come here, like, I'll be your home. Right. And now he's, like, having the events and he's having the compilations and he's having the record, like, record release parties. Yeah. And, like, that's super fucking cool because you don't see major labels necessarily like Disciple or Never Say Die doing that in a way, shape, or form.
No, we never did. Never Say Die used to do, like, the showcase tours. Yeah. But we never did, like, the big, I think the only big events we ever did were like the NSD 10 year and stuff.
And those were massive.
Yeah, those were, like, fun. Yeah, I mean, it was all, like, artists who were, like, on Never Say Die. But I do remember they made a point to, like, bring in, they've always, like, pushed their up-and-comers. But it's, like, I think having the platform that Subtronics has where it's, like, people just fucking go see Subtronics. Like, it's like a whole thing.
And they trust him. To have that trust is like so important because it's like, if you're going to say, oh, I really vouch for this artist, I really enjoy them, they're next up. Yeah. His whole fan base is going to be, okay, where are they at? Let's listen to them. Let's support them. Let's do it. And I think of people like Space Wizard. I think of all of those guys that are like DDD, Stone Level. Yeah. And now, you know, I see Stone Level's growth from a point of, you know, he's getting official remixes for Nightmare. He's doing this, he's doing that. So it's really cool to see that switch because pre-COVID, I was at a point where I was still new enough, but it always kind of sat in the back of my mind, okay, is this structure going to change? How do I play the game correctly? Yeah. How do I do X, Y, and Z? Because as an up-and-comer, not only is it so many more people than it was at your time.
Yes, it was.
It's just like a clusterfuck of lots of questions going on.
Just what the fuck works? Yes. It used to have an answer. It used to be like, make good tunes, meet the right person, get that person to listen to your tunes, and then you'll get a record release.
Ta-da.
And people were fans of record labels, so they would listen to everything on the label.
Mm-hmm.
That was the answer then. Now it's like, I don't know, levitate. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, like, do whatever Void does. Like, I have no idea. And like, I do not envy people in your position at all. And even I struggle trying to like get my shit noticed in a sea of me.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of us.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like, everyone's on a level playing field right now.
Yes.
And that's fucking amazing. That's like what the goal is, right? Is like, I don't know. I think some people's goal is to like become a superstar, but I think the goal is like to foster a really cool environment where there's lots of cool music. Right now, we're doing that.
Yes.
And like, I don't have enough fingers for this shit. And like, there's so much good music being made, and there's so many innovations being made, and like hard dance is back, and like electro house is coming back. I heard somebody fucking making blog house the other day, and I was just like, yeah, let's go.
That's fucking crazy.
But like, I feel like we've finally stopped elitism.
Yeah.
And like that should just stay dead.
Absolutely. And I hope it continues on this way. And I think it's like important for the culture, especially like bass music, to have events like this.
Mhm.
Because if you go to necessarily like maybe an EDC that's not EDC Las Vegas, or you go to a smaller festival, you're not going to get this array of talent. They're probably just going to go through the corporate agencies. You're probably going to get the same 5 people.
Yeah.
And like last night when I was walking around, it's like I heard some drum and bass. I
Yeah.
heard some fucking color bass. I heard this. I heard that. I heard jungle. And it's amazing to hear all of these different, you
Yeah.
know, niche subgenres get their day in the sun, because it usually wouldn't happen that way.
And I feel like even on top of that, there's definitely a shift backstage where you can tell that the old guard are like really interested in what's happening.
Yeah.
Like everyone I'm talking to, like everyone that's just been on the touring circuit for a long time, like we're all like sneaking out to go see someone. Like we're all going to see a smaller artist set because it's the only thing that's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, yeah, we're not done. Like I clearly want to keep making innovative music, but like I'm definitely like super stoked. There's something happening. There's like a seismic shift in like the layout of what's happening. And I think we're headed back towards like another like golden age of dance music.
Absolutely. And like what I said pre-COVID was that what I was seeing was released was not like innovative or quality enough to replace like the Dons and the OGs. Because it's like at one point, you know, Zed said we'll have to step down. R.L. Grime will have to step down, you know? And like somebody has to take that spot.
Right.
And now for the first time I'm hearing music where I'm like, he could do it.
Yeah,
She could do it.
exactly.
And it's like a combination of like innovation, the way they present themselves, and just music in general, and people continuing to push the borders, because what you said before, previously it was just the same shit. I felt like I was hearing
It was
everywhere.
the same fucking shit.
And you couldn't break into these labels because they had guard walls around them.
Yeah. Well,
And
there was a flux in about 2014 where we had this massive influx of like basically it happens like every few years. When I first started, it was around, I think this project started in, 2011, 2012. I was a baby. There weren't a lot of guardrails. You just had to be good.
Yeah.
And like, it wasn't easy to get good then because nobody knew anything. So nobody was making YouTube tutorials that were worth a shit.
You had to be innovative.
You had to, no, I guess you just had to have the luxury of free time, really.
Okay, yeah.
Which I think like it's a privilege, right? Like I sat
definitely.
in my house without a job while my friends were like, no, you can do it, man. Like I'm lucky to have that. Like not everyone gets that. People like work jobs, and like I was just an asshole idiot. And I was like, I'm just gonna stay home and do this until I die. Which like sucked. I didn't eat food for a year, but like I did it.
Yeah.
And like I knew people from like writing for other people and stuff. So I was able to like bounce my stuff off of people who were more successful than me. Like all the Evil Intent guys really like raised me. But now it's like 2014 era. Everyone knows how to make everything. People have figured out how to make like Zomboy sounds and Skrillex sounds and my sounds and like virtual riots happening and like all this shit. And it's the big influx of like learning, because Virtual Riot just immediately goes out and starts teaching everyone everything, which is great. Like big up. I was so mad at the time, but not now. I was also like young.
Reflection.
And, well, I was trying to like do it. And I was like, no, don't tell them how to do it.
Don't tell them.
God damn it.
Fuck you too.
It ended up being a good thing in the long run.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, playing someone's hand forces innovation, but So then like everyone started making like serviceable dubstep. Like everyone could do it. It wasn't hard. And then rhythm happened. So there was like a whole new thing and people knew how to do it. And so we were like, okay, shut it down. Like fucking put down like the bars on the windows. Like we gotta make it through the wave. So then like nobody could get signed. And if they did, it was like on Black Label. And Never Say Die Records was like just kind of holding it down with like me, Trampa, Lax, and Habby, and Eptic, and all that back then. And like we were just like, oh, okay, this is a lot. It's like a lot to deal with. And then you had your couple come out of that, like Sudden Death being like the big one.
Yeah.
And then after that, there was another round of people making even better music. And now there's like another round of people making even better music. And I'm finding like the best music I've ever heard from people on Twitter with like 10 followers. And it's like the guardrails are down now. Like labels really don't exist the way they did. It's really just like a group of like-minded people at this point.
Yeah.
And like they give you some resources, but it's like you can't even guarantee that that's like going to work.
For sure. And I feel like now too, like you have to weigh out the balance, because I feel like everybody's journey is different, but I think a lot of artists strive to eventually be independent and eventually like have all of the rights to their own music, X, Y, and Z. If they start with, I think, a crew like you did so long ago, I think it would be different. But from the artists that like I co-align with, it's like that's our long-term vision. And like in order for us to get exposed to different demographics and different groups, you release on the labels and you get their fan base and you see, you know, where you fit in, where you don't feel like your music really fits. You know, you got to try out everything. But I feel like now we live in an age where, one, all of the artists that I look for on my fucking radio shows and my own music in my crates are fucking 1,000, lesser than 1,000 people on SoundCloud. And then I also feel like we live in an age where if you want to independently release and really push it and you do it well and you execute it properly, you can do it and play the game.
It works better than the game.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I mean, I'm a big advocate for like, do it yourself. Like just do it yourself, be a scoundrel, like disrupt. Because over the past few years, like maybe the past like 5 years, I've really come to hate what success looks like. I don't like it. I don't think it's what people should try to do.
Like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
Like,
so I mean, like,
explain.
The corporate touring circuit, the corporate festivals, like the big DJ, like, do you remember, oh my God, do you remember during all the social unrest where Nicky Romero posted a picture?
Oh,
of him in
yeah.
front of that
Next
car?
to a fucking car.
Dude, holy shit.
It was really bad timing.
That was like that moment.
Decisions.
I remember in that exact moment, I saw it on Twitter and I went, I'm out.
I'm out.
Like, I'm out.
Yeah.
This shit sucks.
Yeah.
And then like, I went down the rabbit hole of like, I was like, okay, what am I feeling? Like, why do I feel this way? What philosophy is trying to sneak out of my head right now? And I realized that like, what I really want is the club circuit from like 2009.
Yeah.
Like just the old Bloghouse times where like people would go to a night instead of to see an act. So they'd be like, oh man, there's this party in San Francisco. And they'd be like, who's playing? They'll be like, this, and this. And like,
curated
cool.
event.
But it's the party that people go to every week because they always bring in someone cool. It doesn't matter how many followers this person has. Are they cool? Like, I remember never even, like, numbers did not matter back then.
Yeah.
Somebody would be like, oh, it's a party with, like, AC Slater, Drop the Lime, and, like, Designer Drugs. And I'd be like, I don't care. All right, let's go. And I would have, like, the best time of my life because the music was incredible. And everything's like a rock show now where it's, like, billed.
Yeah.
And I fucking hate it.
And they fight over how big the name is.
I know.
And
I do.
placement.
That's what sucks is that, like, you're in it and you can't not play the game.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're not eating food.
Yeah.
And, like, I really am not okay with it. I'm not, and I'm, like, willing to lose my career over it. I don't give a shit.
Well, what I see is that I think a lot of people who are up-and-comers absolutely agree with you, and some people think they can reinvent the wheel, and they lose themselves in trying to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
And it's like at the end of the day, like I commend you for your fucking social media presence because I feel like
That's not the greatest.
I feel but like you say what's on your mind, and that makes a difference.
Sure.
And a lot of people are afraid to do that because they're afraid to piss off the wrong people.
Yeah, I mean, and they should be.
Yeah.
Like, I should be. I mean, it's
but
just
you're
kinda,
still doing great. So it's like,
I
where's
don't
that
know
boundary?
well, the boundary is not personal insults, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think the boundary is not going, hey, you, fuck you.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
like also as an because people working in these industries, they're just people working a job like anybody else,
yeah.
right? But it's the institutions that are the problem. Like it's not a given company that is the problem. It's the culture of that company that is the problem.
God,
and the
yeah.
idea that that is okay. Like artists used to get transportation to and from the hotel or to the venue, and now I'm seeing more and more like, yeah, just take an Uber. Like fuck off.
Yeah.
Where's like the personality? Where's fun in touring?
Yeah.
The touring fun is gone.
Yeah.
So like I want the up and comers to have the fun. Where's the dude? It's a dream job.
It's a dream
Let
job.
it be a dream job because it's actually becoming more and more like a conference.
Yeah.
And that's some bullshit.
Yeah. And the back end of it too is that I think until you reach a certain point, you're really not in this for the money.
Sure.
Let's just be like
Sure.
real. Like as an artist, like to break even eventually is a long fucking road.
I know so many people that lose money on shows.
Yeah.
Like that just lose money playing shows because they want to
even
play
on
the show.
corporate agencies, even on big ass agencies,
Especially
when
on
they
big-ass
should
agencies.
be taken care of.
Yeah.
And they have to Uber and they have to do this and they have to do that. And it's like, I speak to other women artists and it's like, they don't have transportation. They don't have this. They don't have that. And they're not breaking even.
Yep.
And they're trying to do what they love. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like, how many times do you go around the circle and beat the horse before you're like, what the fuck am I doing?
Man, the word ticket history has been said to me about 1,000 times, and I'm ready to jump out a window.
Spotify monthly listeners. What's your numbers? What's your data? What's this? What's that?
I was with Riot 10 the other day in the airport, and we were just like waiting for a really long time.
Yeah.
I think we couldn't get an Uber or something. Ubers.
Yeah.
And then we were like, he was talking about Spotify monthly listeners, and he's like really into stats. He's like a sports guy.
Oh,
so he's
yeah,
like a
yeah,
stats
yeah.
dude. And he was talking to me, and I was just like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, Spotify monthly listeners. And I was like, what? And I looked, and I was like, this is dumb. I don't care.
But it's like from what we're told is that's the shit that matters.
Yeah, that's stupid.
And it's so stupid. It's
Yeah.
like the
But I mean, I
things
guess
that
it
we
does, but it's
focus
like,
on.
what about how good are you live? Like,
Yeah. What are you
what are the
curating?
tunes? Yeah.
And instead of sitting at home in front of my computer being like, okay, gotta make the TikTok today. Okay, gotta do this today.
Yeah.
Okay, gotta do that. Like, I just want to fucking worry about the music. And
Yeah.
I get that there's more to the job
Yeah, and
now
there always will
than
be.
this. And there always will
But
be.
it's okay. It's really okay to idealize.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's okay to play the game and also be like, I don't like the game. I don't want it to exist.
Yeah.
Like, I think it can be very easy to hear me, like, talk shit about the status quo, but also, like, be a part of it.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, I am a part of it. I wish I wasn't. Like, I will do this. It's how I, like, feed my family.
Yeah.
But, like, I really do wish it were different. Like, I really do wish that I could just exist as a musical being without ever feeling the pull towards Instagram or pull towards Twitter just to, like, stay relevant.
Mm-hmm.
When I was younger, I did not worry about staying relevant. Once you made cool music, it exists forever. Yeah. Like, that should matter.
And that still happens.
Yeah.
The music still exists forever. But now there's these other factors in which in any genre of entertainment matters.
Yeah.
And it becomes a lot. And I think it becomes very overwhelming to certain people.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of people crash. And I see a lot of people, they go through the phases and then they have to reset.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like doing the same thing over and over again and expecting like different results.
Yeah.
But on the back end, it's like that's how you do play the game.
Yeah.
In your ideal world, besides what you just said is like existing as like a musician and like a musical being, how would you want this to be ran on the more corporate side?
I would like, okay, there's a few things. The first thing I think needs to go is like, we got to pay the local openers.
Yeah.
You got to pay them like decent money.
It's so
if they're
bad.
playing a show that's got a budget and you're paying them $50 or like making them sell tickets, fuck off.
Or pay to play.
Oh, man. Yeah, I get
Or
it.
drink tickets.
Yeah, drink tickets.
Or comps.
Yeah, because back in my day, it wasn't pay to play. So I never really had that experience. But I do remember getting paid in drink tickets, which like sucks.
Yeah.
Especially when like they used to like actually limit what drinks you could get with the tickets.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah, Atlanta. Ooh.
Atlanta.
Yeah, but
is that where you
that's where I kind of came up.
Okay, okay.
Like I'm not from there, but I lived there for a long time, and that's where the project started. And I had another like electro house project before Must Die with a friend of mine, and yeah, that's where we started. Like I think we were like think we were direct support for Steve Aoki at some point. And then like, I think we got paid like $50. It's not Steve's fault. But like that was how it was back then. And I was just thinking like, damn, like we did a lot to get on this lineup. Like we really fought to get on this lineup. We should probably make a little money.
And like making the set and just
Sure.
doing everything.
Being an artist.
in general.
Yeah.
And here's your like 50 cents for the last 48 hours.
I think it's worth mentioning that being an artist is expensive. Like it's not easy to like get a logo and like buy music software and like
Get
time is money.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you write a song, that's, you know, most people, let's say 12 hours of work, right?
Yeah.
For me, it's not. For many, it's not. But for most, I'd say 12 hours is like average, or 8. That's work you weren't doing, making money.
Mm-hmm.
And music's never going to make you money unless you like get a sync or something. But that's like what, 1 in a billion? So it's like, you should get paid.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I would change is get paid. I would also bring back like hospitality. Some of my favorite people in this industry are like people that have done hospitality for me before.
Mm-hmm.
Like I still love them. I saw a bunch of them last night and was just losing my shit. But then I'd see an artist and be like, hi.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's those human connections.
Well, they take care of you.
It's so hard to tour. It's like you travel, it's fucked.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah. It's like such an unsustainable environment when you see those friendly faces and you've worked with them before. It's like amazing. So bring back hospitality. Also, like maybe we could stop having people do back-to-back-to-backs.
I love
or like back-to-backs at all. Yeah. Like I kind of think it's extremely
how do you curate a vibe? How do you it's very hard for me unless they're incredibly close.
Yeah.
If they're incredibly close, it makes sense to me. But if you take 2 people from a big agency and you said, we're gonna throw you together.
They love that.
I've seen
it's
back-to-backs where I'm like, how does this make sense?
It's predatory. And you know what's funny though, is that I always thought it was the agencies pitching it. It's the other way around. It's promoters going like, we want these 2. And then me going, no. And then them going, well, then you're not going to play. And me going, fuck. And then I'll play.
Yeah.
Luckily, I really only hang out with like my closest friends. So like all my back-to-backs have been like with people I love. Like I've done a lot with Eptic and he's like my baby.
Yeah.
So that's fine. I'm doing one with Trampa. I don't mind that because I actually want to see how that goes. And I love doing them with Space Laces. But I've had some offers where I was like, what? Like, this does not work.
Total left field.
Yeah, like, no thanks. And, like, I've had to lose money over it.
Yeah.
It sucks. And it's like, I want that to stop. I would like people to, you know, be able to work their ass off and then play a full hour.
Yeah.
And then, like, there's also, like, the 45-minute set thing. With dance music, it just doesn't.
There's, like, even the 35-minute set thing now.
Wait, is that a thing?
That's a thing.
Oh, dude.
Oh, my friend, that is a thing.
How are you going to do
How do you even do that? That's
How do you do that?
That's like, unless you're like doing doubles or like going, you know, running tracks every 30 seconds.
That's like devaluing the music.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. Yeah. So, I mean, I can complain all day, but there are people doing things in the right direction. Like there's people, like you said, like reinventing the wheel and then burning out. But then there's people who are like disrupting the game from within that like, I really think is cool.
Yeah.
Where they're like, okay, yeah, I'll do all this. That Ducky's a huge example of. Ducky is someone who like exists within like the social media presence and like the shows and doing stuff you don't want to do while also simultaneously being like subversive and like putting on cooler people and like really elevating others. Like I owe a lot of like my recent ethos to Ducky actually. Just like Morgan is someone who gets it.
Morgan was one of the first artists when I was like, okay, I kind of want to do this.
Fuck yeah.
To look from a far vision and say, okay, this is possible.
Yeah.
This is doable.
Yeah.
And it's really awesome too when someone like Morgan responds or more, you know, and we
they always do.
We exist too where, you know, the biggest players in our game aren't at this like superstar unreachable level.
No, like they're like kind of irrelevant.
Exactly. Yeah. So they like fans or artists or people who aspire to be like you, and they can reach out to you and get a response.
Of course.
Reach out to you. It's like changing for them and their perspective on how they approach things. And I also think that the only way that we'll get change is people in your position, in Morgan's position, disrupting from within.
Yes.
Because you'll have that cater for demand from the people who they know are going to potentially sell.
Right.
So eventually their, you know, your opinions and your perspective has to be taken into some sort of consideration, even if it only changes a little
changing.
bit.
I think enough people feel like we needed a change.
Yeah.
That I've only been back for what, like 3 weeks now, but like it's different. Like, there's more gratitude on my part there. Like, it's really nice to come back to a job that I love. Like, I hate touring, but the job is being Must I, and I do enjoy that. Like, I do enjoy talking to people about the album and like hearing that people actually listen to it. Like that, like, I know that's so cliche, and like I know people listen to it. Like,
no,
duh.
but we
like
live
hearing
in an
my
age
friends listen to it, and I was like, you listen to it? Because like I don't listen to everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's amazing. And I'm getting to see like, you know, fans that like are real fans that I've seen on Twitter the past 2 years, like really keeping up with me during that time off. And I'm seeing them come to shows. And I'm like seeing people dance and like actually have a good time instead of just like waiting for the tune they all know. Yes. And that's new. That wasn't there 2 years ago.
See, that's interesting.
It was there ages before.
Yeah.
But it wasn't there 2 years ago. It had become like basically a shell of a genre.
Yes.
Like there was cool stuff, but like the fans weren't there.
Well, they're thoroughly enjoying like this body of work. And it's also, even though it's like we still struggle with that now, there's just so much music that gets put out.
Yeah.
And like the lifespan of that music, while you're whether you're following a trend, whether you're doing your own thing, we all have like the attention span of like a squirrel.
Yeah.
So especially in the age of our phones where
so bad.
We scroll, we go to the next app, we scroll, we do this. So I can't even imagine from like a festival goer fan point of view, for perspective, someone who just like wants to fucking rage, like how long those songs last with them. So
dude, I don't know. I like can't get in that headspace.
I can't either. But it's really cool to see, I think, fans really listening.
Yes.
And I also think by taking them out of the environment that this music was designed to be in, made them more inquisitive to what was out there.
Yeah.
Because the majority of people I know are not listening to rhythm in their kitchen.
No, not at all.
And
the car at best.
Yes, at best. So to see like, and you had like a lot of melodic songs on your, you know, to see that whole melodic wave really come into its own. I look at Will Style, look at all of those guys, is really sick.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And it's awesome. And it's created this whole new lane. Like a new little lane that's been developed for a long time, but it's cool to see it's come to its own.
It's now presented on a plate and saying you can do this, which is, that's like the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, taking the dance out of dance music just left it music, and that was cool. And like, I do think a lot of people, like all of a sudden, a big one, and I keep talking about it just because I'm so stoked on it, but like up-tempo and like hard dance makes sense now.
Yeah.
Because during a time where it was all virtual shows or like VR shows, hard dance was king during all that. Because like that's what a lot of us like. And then like getting to play whatever you want during COVID, everyone took that liberty. Everyone was like,
you could do whatever
I'll do whatever the fuck I want. No one can tell me not to because I'm not even getting paid for this shit, which is rad. And so like everyone was doing all this crazy shit. And now that we're back on shows, no one wants to give up that freedom. So we're just seeing like...
You're like, how far can I push this incorporation?
It's like, is this an incorporation or a total shift? And it's like, I'm leaning towards shift where I'm just like, I'm just going to go do this now. And then other people are like, I'm incorporating this now. And then you're seeing like, like color bass and like the Halcyon, like future rhythm stuff, like pervading like even like the heaviest of dudes sets. And I'm just like, yeah, man. Next thing you know, everyone's going to be like all pan flutes, and it's just like what I want.
It's going to be
It's
great.
what I want. It's my game plan since day one.
People are here for it.
Yeah. Bring back the pan flutes.
Bring back the pan flutes.
Yeah, bring it all back.
I love it.
Yeah. I just want Jungle Terror to come back, honestly.
That was the good day. That's when I got into this kind of
It was
music.
a good genre. I did like that it was all like weirdly tribal themed, but at the same time, like that was like the perfect bridge of like big room and hard house. But like, yeah, I just want it all to come back. I just want it to be a big melting pot again. I think we're on our way.
Well, that is what makes it so interesting. And exactly what you just said, like the shift has happened.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone, like especially yourself, is going to change the way that you're doing sets.
No.
Just to appease to someone else, because the fans are here for it.
Yeah.
They're all about it.
I also just like being at home. And if I am rejected from the next iteration of things, that's like the natural way of it.
Are you a homebody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if it were up to me, and
clone yourself,
and it is have
the clone travel.
I say that as if I don't like my job. I do. But it's like, if it were up to me and I could plan a perfect day, I'm at home, I'm, like, drinking tea, and I'm watching, like, an early 80s horror film. And that's, like, my day.
Yeah.
And then, like, I don't even plan the rest of my day, and I just, like, eat a Pop-Tart. and it's great. And I make music. And like, if I had to plan a perfect touring day, I'm doing the same thing, but in a hotel. So it's like none of my perfect days ever involve any like DJ shit. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's always music and film and art, but it's never like I'm on stage. Cause like, I've never identified with it. Mm-hmm. I've never been like, I'm a stage performer. Even when I was in bands back in the day, like I was the front man because like I'm a lunatic, but at the same time, like it wasn't where I was comfortable. Mm-hmm. I'm comfortable when I can have an idea, iterate on that idea, and then like I only do it to like seem clever to the person sitting next to me. Like that's what I like to do is be clever with music.
Yeah.
I don't care about the rest. So like in this next iteration, if someone needs my spot more than I do, take it. Like I'm cool to just make albums forever. Like that's what I want to do.
And I feel like you've also gotten to the point though where you've like put in your years to be able.
Dude, I'm tired.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
I'm feeling haggard, man.
Well, you're keeping up good with it, but I look at people like yourself, like Zomboy, like, and I just go like commending because I feel like I've hardly been doing this, and I love it, and I love being on stage, and I love being at home. COVID has made me a lot more of a home.
Sure. Well, you have time to grapple with what you really want.
Yeah, than I've ever been. However, to imagine doing this for a decade is beautiful and very scary at the same time.
It is beautiful. Yeah. I've had the most beautiful 10 years of my life. Like I've been to places I never would have gone. Mm-hmm. I've met people I never would have met. I have a friend everywhere. Like it's a lovely, wonderful, beautiful thing. Last night I was watching Zomboy from front of house with Trampa.
Yeah.
And like I just like looked over and I was like, oh my God, these are my best friends. Like it's been 10 years with these dudes. And like I was just like texting Eptic and I was just like, I miss you. Because like I was thinking about it, like I never would have met these guys. These are my closest friends. Like it's not just music. Mm-hmm. Like I never would have met these people had it not been for making shitty dubstep. And that's hilarious. But it's also like the most beautiful thing I can think of. Like I love my people.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I wouldn't give that up for the world. But then I like immediately like had to sign somebody's like dirty ass pashmina. And I was like, okay. Which like I'm grateful they wanted me to sign. I just remember, dude, it smelled.
Oh, I always
Pashminas, dude. You're just carrying around a fucking towel.
We can't operate without them. Don't get me wrong. They're the fucking winners.
They're the winners.
But
they're better than me.
Man, when I walk through the crowd sometimes, I'm like, holy shit.
I saw a dude dressed as a penis, headbanging. But it was like so heavy that it was literally just like laying down on the rail, like at a right angle, like just coming down like that. And I was wondering, I was like, this is the first time I actually think that like someone's gonna need like a back brace. Like, that is a huge paper mache penis. I don't know. I actually kind of, you know what, penis person, you're cool. Dirty pashmina person, learn about dry cleaning.
Like literally, and it's just. It's amazing they're able to do it. Don't get me wrong. I fucking commend them.
No,
I could just sit in the corner.
Taking the piss out of sillies is funny.
Oh, yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean, the fans are amazing. But like,
it's amazing.
Holy shit, some of the shit I see.
I could just people watch. I could people watch for hours. I'm like, just give me a coffee, put me in a corner.
Yeah.
I'm here all day. Let me hit my pen.
We're
night, here.
Yeah, I was like walking, me and Trampa were walking behind like the stage service road.
Yeah.
We were going from like main stage to the Wampy Woods. And I look over and like there's like porta potties on the other side of the fence. And I saw this dude just like leaning over the porta potty and he just goes like, hey. And I was like, hi. And I didn't see him and I looked back and he wasn't there. And I looked back and he's like peeking over.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I told Ricky, I was like, that's a slasher film. That's the guy. We need to make a Lost Land slasher film. Because we're like in the middle of nowhere.
We are.
Like absolutely.
Oh, in the middle of nowhere.
Like when you're walking on those roads, it literally feels like Friday
I thought I
the
was
13th.
going to get hit by a golf cart or like
did.
abducted by someone.
That's the thing.
That was it.
Can you just imagine? We got to come up with like a new
whole
horror
plot
icon.
line.
Yeah. Maybe it's just Excision.
Maybe. Yeah.
Well, we need a masked DJ.
We do.
And the masked DJ is the killer. But which DJ is it really? Because everyone will
that
reference
is,
all film long, they'll reference that it's a side project.
I'm thinking the Barely Alive hat.
Oh
but we have someone else
Can you
underneath
imagine Barely Alive being a serial killer?
Willie? Yeah.
No, let's make it Matt, though.
Let's make it Matt.
So, like, Willie, we redirect. So everyone thinks it's Willie, but it's actually Matt.
But it's actually
He actually left and came to Lost Lands and has been killing people
I'm going to
wearing
say, I'm
the
just
toaster.
informing you that you are now the star.
He's the serial killer.
He's the serial killer.
I think he'd be into it.
I think he would too.
Yeah.
Oh, he
Fuck
totally
yeah.
would.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I like constantly make up dumb shit in my head.
No,
It's
that's
like a
great. We were
problem.
just talking about Josh yesterday, and he's like all about the horror stuff.
Figure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
figure. Yes,
absolutely.
yes. And I
The king
think
of it.
that is so dope. And I look at people like yourself, like him, where you guys just kind of like exist in that lane.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is what I fucking love. So
Yeah.
this is what I'm gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you fuck with it, that's cool. And like when he was on
Yeah.
the podcast, he just goes, you know, if they want to book Rhythm in Wisconsin, I'm not going to get booked, and that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
And you have to be okay with it, because not
Yeah, you
everyone's going
can't
to like
do
it.
it all.
No.
You can't be the only artist.
Yes.
You can't.
No.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, man. Like, I don't even know what lane I am. Like, I guess people considered me like in the wave of bro step, but I never liked that name. Like, because I really like reject masculinity on all forms.
Yeah.
But like, you know, that era of like the Zomboy, like post Skrillex wave, and like nowadays, I don't know where I fit in. I just really don't. And like, because I'm not rhythm, I'm not like the bro dubstep stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just am my own little boy over here doing my little thing.
But that's when you're doing your
jokes.
own thing, and like you're existing in your own lane, so it doesn't fucking matter.
There's so many people like that now. There's so many people that are just themselves. It's fucking awesome. Man.
But it's great. It's great. And I hope that continues more into, I guess, I don't know if it ever would, into the corporate side of things, but there's such a huge group, I think, of fans that are still unaware of a lot of these artists that are giving their own
Of course they are.
Because
like,
they're not the same ones getting
they're
booked over and
purposefully
over
being
again.
told not to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll never bleed into the corporate side. Corporate structure exists specifically to stamp out individuality.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, that pans into much more than the music industry.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, it's not going to happen. But what we are going to see is that the fans need to be told right here, right now, that they have all the power. If you stop showing up to shit, the people will bow to you.
Yeah.
Like, also, hey, kids, you can throw your own parties. You should. You should throw your own parties. You should put your friends on. You should have insular groups of unique sounds that are yours. Like, make regional music. Like, people from places sound like places. People from LA sound like they're from LA. Like, you can do that, and it's cool, and it results in, like, years of good music scenes. Like, that's how people always used to do it, and it always worked.
And it doesn't happen anymore.
No, but they can. Like, money is not a problem. Throw it in your backyard, dude. Rave it up. Like, bring back actual raving.
Yeah. Have you seen the Def Global stuff going? So there's this company out of Atlanta that has started pulling permits like.
Wait, is that the parking garage?
Yes.
Was the Ivy Lab?
So sick.
Yes, let's go. Yeah.
Like, they've done the parking garage. They've done like a 360 next to like a train station.
Let's go. That's
like,
my
that's
shit.
super cool.
Do you know who's running it?
No.
Because I feel like I would probably know who it is.
I was talking to Shay about it.
Okay,
because she was there with the Ivy Lab.
Yeah.
And she's just like, that was the coolest shit ever.
Yeah. I was with her last night. I love her so much.
Yeah.
Shy, if you're listening, I love you.
But it's people like her that have the other side of the foot in the industry that can make a huge difference.
Oh, yeah. Huge difference. Yeah. I mean, Shy's on fire with Ivy Lab and all that. Like, just people that give a shit, that are like working from within, like I was saying, that can do it. There's so many awesome people. Like Maria Southgate at Never Say Die.
I'm going to have her on the podcast. She's wonderful.
Oh, fuck yeah. Dude,
yeah, we have her. Yeah.
I'm going to call in for that.
Yes. Yeah.
Do it. I just want to listen.
We'll have a special guest.
Maria is legitimately, like, there are two people that I've worked with that I would rate as like the best experiences of my professional career, which is Veronica Weebs and Maria. Yeah. Like, those two get it. They get it, like, beyond their job. Like, they just encompass like giving a shit, and I love it. Yeah, you're gonna have fun with Maria.
Well, just like genuineness,
I
think goes a very long way.
Yes, it does.
And I think when people reach a certain point, they have to make a decision whether they're going to be told what to do or they're going to like rise to the occasion and exist, but still be genuine and still like not necessarily like be a good person. I think there's a lot of people who take direction from people above them that are good people.
Sure, of course.
But like they are making a direct impact on what happens. And I just have to make a side note that some of my favorite people happen to be women on the other side of this industry that are doing the right fucking thing.
I was literally telling Trampa last night, I was like, I don't think that, like, I have a list of like my favorite people that I work with. I don't think a single one of them is a dude.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, well, it's an interesting thing about me is like, I really just don't like men. And I know that sounds terrible, and I know that I'm going to get backlash for that, but like I just never have.
Yeah.
It comes from like my childhood. Like I just don't like men.
Yeah.
So like I relate a lot more to women, and like I don't go through the same struggles. My privilege is insane compared to like being a woman in this industry. Especially because I'm straight passing and shit. But like basically like every woman that has been put in a position of power has made a massive difference for my career.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like because they understand where I'm coming from. Like I want things to change. Like, yeah, we all want things to change when we are not being like benefited by that privilege. So like, let's put more women in positions of power because shit actually changes when you do. Yes. Because like no one's going to want to change a system that benefits them.
Correct.
Right.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Look at that little.
I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
And like, I love my team. Like Schism's my manager. He's been my manager since like forever. And like, I love him and he's all about it. And like, he's over in Australia having a good time and like chilling over there. And like, he knows like, that's why he hired Maria. Like that's how you get shit done.
That's how you get shit done.
That's how you get like change done because she's got so many fresh ideas. And like, that's what, that's what it is. I'm going back to what you just said. Like, it's not about being genuine so much as it's about working in your job and still having ideas.
Yeah.
Like not being like subservient in any way. You're just like, okay, I'll do this. Also, what about this? Or like, if I have an idea, I feel heard and listened to, and then it gets implemented and it's amazing. Like Veronica and Maria Veronica did that whole tour with me and Space Laces and like constantly just like, hey, Veronica, what if I did this for merch? And then like the next morning there'd be like a plan. And I'd be like, shit, that's never happened before.
Done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's the way that women and men are just built very differently.
Maybe so.
But at the end of the day too, as well, yeah, it's just about getting shit done. And I think there becomes a point of like complacency where people just say, okay, I know what I have to do from the start of the day to the end of the day.
Right.
And that's all I'm going to do. And I think we work in an industry where compared to regular world, it's not reality.
No.
And we're all, making hopefully a livable wage off of our passion,
sure,
which is super awesome and fortunate. There's a very small percentage of people in the world that get to do that.
Yes, absolutely.
And in turn, you are enabled to be more creative and you're enabled to think of better ideas than working a 9 to 5 and being fucking miserable.
Right. I guess the point is to make this dream job more like an actual dream job.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, yes, we're privileged to have this job.
That's
like
how we
you
progress.
And I both.
Yeah.
But shouldn't it be even better? Yeah. Why can't everything always be better than it is?
Be great.
Like, yeah, like working at Amazon should be better than it is. Working at McDonald's should be better than it is. Like everyone should be okay.
Yes.
And so like when I say like very fucking like first world problem type things of like, oh, we don't get driven to the venue anymore. But it's like, it's not really about like, give me. It's about I'm lonely. I miss people because it's not fair to like constantly shuttle me around between time zones and then tell me that I should be grateful.
Yeah.
When I'm not seeing a friendly face. Like I'll get to the venue and I literally don't see anyone and I just go on stage and then I leave and I don't see anyone.
That should be.
But that's true. That's like a real thing at like the larger like hard ticket venues. You just like straight up don't talk to anyone.
Which is
and it's like not cool.
Great. and it's a total mindfuck too that like I've had conversations with where it's like you go from being on stage and feeling that energy, especially in a club room.
And feeling validation
and
on stage.
And feeling validation. And you're like, hell yeah. I've like played shows where I haven't had one sip of alcohol. I haven't fucking done anything. I've drank water.
Yeah.
And I get home and I feel like I'm high as kite. The world is mine.
Yeah.
And then you're home in a hotel room alone.
Yeah.
And then you go, holy shit. All right, well, I guess I'm just going to watch Netflix until my flight.
Yeah, exactly.
and that's going to be
exactly.
And that's going to be it. And,
yeah. But that's no
yeah.
existence. Like, yeah, it is privileged. We get to play our music for people.
Yes.
But the difference between like the highs and the lows is so fucked up.
Yeah.
Like I was talking to a therapist about it. I was just like, I go on stage and I feel loved.
Yeah.
And I feel appreciated and my art gets noticed. And then I get off stage and there's no one there. And everyone's asleep, so I can't text anybody. And I'm miles away from my family.
Yeah.
And I like haven't seen my grandparents
You're not going to call your wife at 4 a.m. in the morning.
No, fuck no.
Like,
and like, you're like, what for though? Because you don't know any of the people that are telling you good job.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're not really doing it for the strangers' love. You're doing it for the people you are close to. You want the people you are close to be like, you're good at what you do.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the fans having a great time, like that's amazing. That's why we do live music. But it does that doesn't last. You get off stage and it's gone because they're not still texting you.
In like an instance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like those moments where you go backstage and the hospitality person is like, oh, great set. And then you chat about like fucking, I don't know, Breaking Bad for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's like so much better.
Yeah.
So I want that back.
Yeah.
I want human contact back. And like, I have lovely friends. And luckily now when I'm in cities, I can just be like, hey, you live here. Come see me. But with COVID times, it's a little more complicated.
I was about to say, I feel like COVID has affected that a little bit.
Yes.
Because more than ever now, I see people don't have venue staff properly.
Yep.
I see people don't just have the manpower, the hands that they need in order to have everything work and still create that hospitable environment.
Absolutely. And right now, I think that's a free pass, right?
Yeah.
So like on this run with Riot 10, like I've been like, I'm going to kind of stay by myself. I'll wear my mask. I'll read a book. And that's been fine and good. I can tell that I think it bothers him a little more than me because he's more of a social person.
Oh, he's out there.
Yeah. I'm like not.
He's like, let's play the beer pong.
Yeah, beer pong.
Let's fucking, let's take the shots. Let's do this. Oh, yeah.
He got unfortunate to be paired with someone who doesn't drink and who like always has his nose in a book. So like, well, which is fine. Like we've just been talking. Like he's a lovely person. But like, he'll be like, yeah, I'm going to play beer pong with like my photographer. And I'm just like, all right, I'm going to play the flute in the corner.
No, I feel that. It's
funny.
There's so many, I mean, just like anybody, there's just so many different types of people.
Getting matched up with people on tour is really funny.
And I've never really thought about that back end. And we've gotten to the point where we are starting to look at like potential co-headlines for like Q2 of next year. And they're like, okay, like we're talking to this person. And then in the back of my head, I'm like, holy shit, like I don't know this person. I'm like, I don't know like if we're going to gel, like wouldn't they want like there to be a good relationship? Like
I think that performers out of desperation tend to gel.
Yeah.
I think we all are I think most are of a similar ilk. Yeah. I think there are some who are legitimately vapid pieces of shit.
Yeah.
But it's rare.
Yes.
Like it's not. Well, those people tend to rise to the top because they do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
So you can spot them and you just go like, that's a piece of shit. But everyone else who's like working it and like been working it and like and is coming up, they're fine.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's nice, man. Everyone's just like.
We're all more similar than it seems. I think everybody just has different ways of showing it.
Sure.
And
well,
like,
we're all different individuals, but at the same time, it's like we're the same job.
Yes. Yeah. It's like at the end of the day, we have the
shit.
same kind of order of operations that we do to approach.
And it's cool to talk to other people about how they do stuff. Because like you're talking about like Q2 and stuff, and my brain is like Q2. What the fuck's a quarter?
Like, what the fuck is
like,
that?
What is that? Like the
it's like the 4 quarters of the year.
I can't think.
First quarter, like
my brain
January,
is this cup of coffee right now.
Dude, I feel the same way. Usually I'm all over and I'm just like listening to you talk. I'm like, here we are. I was like, oh shit, I gotta fucking say something. Yeah. But that's and I'm very like abrasive person where like I always want to know everything that's going on. So like I get that people are in like kind of different places with how they approach, how they want to handle like their career.
Right.
But from my perspective, more than ever, it's like data. Exactly all the bullshit that we were talking about.
Right.
Data. Do you have ticket history here? Are you selling? What's your social media numbers? What's your Spotify numbers?
Right.
And it's like, I've heard it so much that I'm used to hearing it. But then the other side of me is like, I don't have to fucking hear that shit ever again.
Right.
So
but I think it's important. I think it's important, especially for a woman in this industry. Like you are expected not just to do baseline, but to like be above and beyond in order to compete.
Oh,
with
we
baseline.
start at negative 100.
Exactly.
And we have to work to 0.
Right.
Just to be given that extra 5 points.
Yeah. Just to not have people say you don't write your own shit.
That'd be
Yeah. That's
the only reason why I wear headphones is so people don't fucking private DM me and say, did you just press play?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is I don't wear headphones and no one private messages me that.
I remember, you know what's so funny? It was the fucking Steve Aoki show. Then when I was a resident DJ, I opened. It was funny because you said you opened for them when you were in Electro Duo.
Yeah.
And I was playing house music. I had my fucking hotkeys. I don't need fucking headphones.
You don't need headphones.
And I'm not a house DJ either. I was a resident DJ. Like, I don't make that kind of music. So, like, I'm playing 4 on the floor. I know when to fucking play my shit. And it's like,
count to 4, press play.
Pathetic, press play. Real DJ should be up there. And
Aoki doesn't wear headphones.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm like, and I fucked up in my set.
Yeah.
So like, what do you?
How could you fuck up?
And it's just the disposition of. I think that's just the shit that we're used to dealing with. But
you shouldn't have
more than ever, I think there is a promising future, and I think there are more males advocating for women than I've ever seen before.
Good. Yeah.
From my personal experience, I've heard all ends of it, but lately I feel like there's been a really good support system from big artists.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. I haven't gone through it, so I can't say I understand, but like I can clearly see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I think it's fucked.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, like I can clearly see a shift where yesterday, for example, I spent the majority of my day hanging out with female artists.
Yeah.
And like women artists. And like that has never happened before. So that's been cool.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. And like that's nice to see. And like I was actually talking to Jessica Audiford about this the other day.
Oh, she's wonderful.
She is.
Yeah.
She's
we were
sharp.
literally just saying like when she would come on the dates with you guys, she just lights up the room sharp.
She's
like
so sharp. And she's like willing to like just go at it and talk, which like is what I like to do.
Yes.
And like we were talking about it and about music production in particular. And I was talking to Sippy about this last night about how like we were talking about like you brought it up too, getting a tune there and then the details.
Yes.
I feel like Jessica said something where she was like, there's a difference between a lot of the women I know and a lot of the men I know, where men are a lot more detail oriented about the music and women are a lot more like idea oriented about the music. And I was like, that's so funny because I am like, I agree, but I actually lean more towards the idea and less about the details too. So like I can actually relate to that. And apparently like she was saying that like being a woman, because of the details not being like as nerdy, like they get shit talked. Whereas like I don't do any nerdy details and I don't get shit talked. And like that's true. I can see it. Like that's a real thing. And let me just go ahead and say this out there. Everyone out there, stop leaving comments on SoundCloud if they're negative. Just period. Just like shut the fuck up.
I stopped looking at the SoundCloud comments.
I haven't logged into SoundCloud in 2 years.
YouTube's bad too, though.
I don't do that.
YouTube gets nasty.
I don't do that.
I had like my first release on Disciple Roundtable. Mm-hmm. I was like, I can't fucking read this shit.
YouTube comments have like, always been the worst.
Nasty.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, it's just, I just feel like especially what we saw happen on social media when we were in COVID is people just self-imploded, mad at the world, too much time on their hands, all of this shit. And it's like, read a fucking book, get a fucking hobby, go learn something, get a degree. You could have gotten a degree in the time that we were fucking locked up.
Like 2-year degree, let's go.
I
actually considered, the problem was I didn't make any money for 2 years. Otherwise I would have gone to college.
Yeah. But there, I think that coming out of that from being such a beginner, like into this new process, taught me like, hey, even though on this trajectory career path, the majority of your income is going to be from touring.
It's from touring.
You cannot fucking depend on that. You have to have another supplemental form of income.
Yeah.
Whether it's Patreon, lessons, doing Foley sound, doing whatever. Because we have such a big skill set that if you have the time and you have the discipline, and I get it, being an artist is a fucking full-time job. Yes. And I have like male managers and I don't like go off, but I'm just like, I'm a girl, dude. Like, you don't understand. Like, I'm paying to get my hair done. I'm fucking doing this. I'm doing that. I'm like, I'm not just a guy who can fucking throw a shirt on and go out there. Like, I can, but that's not what I want to do.
You can't get caught slipping. You can't be a human being. Yeah.
So, but on the other side of that, it's like, if you have the time, like, Patreon has been my financial stability.
It was mine too.
Since COVID.
Yeah.
Like, and there's other ways to approach it to where if we ever get put in this position again, which the way the world is going, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to be fucked.
Yeah.
And you're still going to be fucked, but you're not going to be fucked as hard because it was wrenching to see people who I had looked up to, who had been mentors, really have their fucking lives destroyed.
Yeah, completely gone.
Savings gone.
Yep.
This gone.
Yep.
Still dealing with getting loans.
Yep.
Dealing with mortgages that they can't fucking pay.
Yep.
Like, it's terrifying.
But it makes you wonder, back to my idealism, because I love that.
Yeah.
Why aren't we making money off our music?
That would be great.
Like,
do you like Audius? Do you like what Audius is
I've never
doing?
messed with Audius.
So I know that like Shay actually has like a really front forward foot in Audius. But
yeah, and I know it's is it Clayton?
Yeah, it's the guy from Alsla.
Yeah.
Who helped with it. And what they're doing with like audio money, whatever, it's some sort of crypto.
That's where I get lost.
I do too. Is cool and it's a bit more promising, but then it's like at the same time you go to the regular talent buyers and all they look at is Spotify and what do we get? 0.0004?
Point fuck all.
Oh yeah, point fuck off.
Have you ever like do you know anything
It's
about
insane.
Daniel Ek, like the main guy at Spotify? The main,
I've
owner?
read some pieces on this
I've
man.
decided I want to fist fight him.
Yeah, that's it.
He's not listening. He doesn't listen to music. So
No.
like I would like to like formally
Well, that's
invite
the
him
problem.
to a battle.
Can I tell you that's the root of the problem?
Yeah.
Is the fact that the people who are controlling what artists get paid for their craft and their time
Love that.
it's like a form of Amazon.
Oh.
It's like a form, you know what I'm saying?
It is.
it goes into this whole infrastructure of discussion of how the baseline of what our countries are in on right now is really potentially problematic.
We're in some fun late stage capitalism shit right
Yeah,
now. I live
yeah.
in Seattle, which is basically like Amazon owns the city and Microsoft owns the city. And like literally the whole town of Redmond is just Microsoft. And like downtown Seattle is just Amazon. And like I'm witnessing the end of the world.
Yeah.
And I'm fucking out, dude.
Oh,
Luckily,
my
I live
goodness.
I live out in the woods. So that's nice.
What do you mean though? Like what?
The woods, trees.
No. Yeah, the woods, the beautiful
Possums and shit.
Yeah, possums,
They're out
beautiful
there.
views.
Yeah.
No, like in Seattle, like with it being, it's just so corporate.
You cannot function outside of them.
Yeah.
Like, well, you can. It's just like, it's a harder effort. But like a normal person who doesn't like think about this shit, because like not everyone has the opportunity to think about that shit. They're just like trying to live.
Yeah.
They're like, it's Amazon.
Well, I think about that all the time, and it's like I bitch about things all the time, and then I have to take that outside perspective
Of like,
where you
I'm so
go-
lucky I get to sit here and think.
Yeah, where I'm so lucky I get to sit here and think when I like walk into somewhere that I could never idealize myself working at and I see somebody enjoying their job or at least putting on a good fucking face and genuinely being nice to their coworkers, I'm like, dude, I'm so fucking lucky. Like because it like puts that into perspective.
Absolutely.
And even then we live in a fucking first world country.
Sure.
You can't even when you and it's always interesting because we never, unless you really dive deep, see a lot about international news. But
No.
everyone sees about us.
Right.
So it's just this fucked perspective and outside vision
Perspective
of the life
is
that we
everything.
live. Yes.
Just like every now and again, it's so good to like reboot and kind of like zoom out from the universe in and just be like, I say the universe, I don't even think about the universe. Think about like the planet in, where
Yeah.
you're just like, okay, globally what's going on? Okay, continentally what's going on? Okay, now we're back in America. Now let's go to the state. Now let's go to the city. Now my life. Like what's going on in my life? We always have something to be grateful for, and that is really important.
Yes.
And we always have something that could be idealized because that is what we are put on this earth to do, is make life better for the people that come after us.
Yeah.
So it's like I will always fight for what and complain about the things that I'm doing to make them better.
Mhm.
Not because I think I deserve it, but because I think other people deserve it. But then it's like, yeah, I'm so grateful for my job. I'm so grateful for my life, my family, like my friends, like I was saying earlier. Like this opportunity to come in here and babble for an hour, like that's fucking
Which I
rad.
appreciate
Of
because you don't
course.
know how much it means to me.
Oh, I don't mind.
The
It's like my
people-
favorite thing to do.
Yeah, well, but it's amazing because it's like by doing this, I've gotten a chance to not only learn, like I sit here and I'm like, okay, like I'm picking from other people's experiences,
Sure.
but you are helping educate this whole demographic of people who want to do exactly what you're doing.
I
and it's
really,
important for people to know that,
Yeah.
the back end of it.
I feel like I need to tell them stuff.
Yeah.
Like I really do. And I think a lot of people get put off by it because it's not escapism. It's not fun.
Mhm.
Like it's not fun what I'm talking about. And it's hard and it's work.
Mhm.
And I'm asking people to do things.
Yeah.
And that's not easy in entertainment. Like, yeah, I want you to listen to my music and give me money. Sure. But like what I really want you to do is like interface with your art. Like be there for artists. Like live that life, live that full life of like music is so much more than an event you go to. It's like a whole thing. And like musicians are so much more than the music they put out too. Like we're human beings, like we're trying our best and we give a shit about your experience.
Oh, absolutely.
And so it's like, I want to tell you, like, I want to tell the world, like, take care of each other because like we make this art not because we want to make it for you, but because we fucking have to. It's like a compulsion. So like we can't help but make art.
Yeah.
So like let's make it a great place to experience it and a great place to make it.
Absolutely.
And a great place to perform it and a great place to like advance it and like do hospitality for it and do transpo. Like everyone should be as best off as they can be. It's a huge unit.
Even though people exist in their own individual entities, especially in this industry, it takes so many people.
Yes,
like yesterday, I was just walking around the festival and I just go, holy shit.
The sheer amount of crew on that. I was looking up at the main stage and I was like, holy shit. Someone built this.
Someone built this.
Yeah.
Like,
how do they do
from
that?
the ground up.
I've never seen anyone build a stage. How do you do that?
Well, I just used to think it popped out of a box. I just used to think, this is the festival box. You open
like
it, and the festival's ready to fucking
there
go. Yeah.
I wonder how long. I'm going to ask Jeff how long it took to build it.
I would say maybe 2 weeks.
It's large.
It's huge.
Yeah. And
it's like an EDC size stage.
Dude, the Wampy Woods is like as big.
It's huge. Well, I looked at that and I originally thought that the Wampy Woods was the main stage because I looked at the LED wall and I was like, oh, that's totally it. And I was
like a main stage to me.
Yeah. Over here.
It's a main stage at some festivals, most festivals.
Oh, absolutely. So it's just
crazy.
It's fucking crazy.
And you're here all weekend, right?
I'm here all weekend.
Oh, are you excited? Are you excited to make it through the grueling
I'm excited.
Dust Fest?
I gotta get some Band-Aids for my feet.
For your feet?
For my feet.
Yeah, I was walking around.
Stoked.
I was walking around yesterday and I was like, yeah, no, I'm done.
Yeah. I don't think I've done a collective 4 days since
that's right, because you were here early.
Maybe my first 2 festivals. Like
God.
it's not only am I a homebody, I am also like I am here to enjoy the day and I want to play and I want to do my job.
Yeah.
And the podcast has given me an excuse to like further it.
I love that.
Or I would not be here all 4 days. But then I'm like, okay, I'm ready to see my dog and be in my home and have my coffee and sit and look at my computer screen.
Yes.
And that is where I'm
gonna
like,
watch The Haunting of Hill House for the 8th time.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna sit here still.
Let's watch the negative 3-star Netflix series and just thoroughly enjoy it.
Oh no, what's your like worst Netflix series?
Right now, I'm really trying to make it through Manifest.
Oh my God. Holy shit.
It was literally, okay, so it was kind of good.
I can't.
And then now it's just gone off the rails.
Yeah. It's also like way longer than it needs to be.
It's way longer than it needs to be. And I'm just like listening to it while I'm like doing dishes and just maybe tuning in like a little bit.
It?
Oh yeah. And I'm just like, okay, that's about it. I was about to say, I wanted to thank you. You have to fucking catch a flight.
Oh, I do.
You do.
I do have to.
You do have to.
Yeah, I should do that.
You should do that. All right.
Yeah.
Everybody must die. Thank you for coming on.
It's me.
Thank you guys for yet again tuning into another episode of the EXO podcast. Next up, we have special guest Grabbit joining me live from Lost Lands. Super wonderful episode. I'm stoked to share that with you guys. Don't forget, new EXO Radio featuring Evade out now on my SoundCloud and Audius, also linked below. I will see you guys later on this week. I am joining Riot 10 this weekend in Florida, Jacksonville, Tallahassee, Tampa, and Orlando. So if you're there, please see me and give me a hug. Have a good one. XOXO.